Everybody was falling in love with Mary.
Yeah.
In fact, and the big thing, why did she want to meet Elizabeth? That was her great obsession all her life.
Yeah.
She thought that once she met Elizabeth, all the problems would evaporate, that she would, in fact, seduce and charm Elizabeth as well as everybody else. She was convinced of it. That all it was going to take was one meeting.
Right.
And Elizabeth would be charmed.
We sure fooled her, didn't we?
Yes. Well,
Why did Elizabeth refuse that meeting all those years?
she was pressured all her life to sign a death warrant for Mary. She was very insecure, Elizabeth, because first of all, her own claim to the English throne was not 100% sure. So she thought, if I kill one monarch, I pave the way for my own beheading, and I'll be the next one. The Schiller play, of course, dramatizes that tremendous meeting that Mary so much wanted. It's the dramatic focus of the piece. Mary, in fact, begins the interview very well. She swallows her pride, and she goes and she kneels in front of Elizabeth, and she says, I have given up. I'm ready to give up the world, the throne. Just call me a sister and forgive me and free me.
When she says this business about Sorella sister to her, the first thing Elizabeth says, no, you belong in the dirt.
That's right.
You know, so it has to go from there. I mean, Mary is royalty.
What Elizabeth,
she's going to take that up immediately.
What Elizabeth does, she does not, in fact, soften, as everybody expected when Mary does this. She hardens. She kind of really vengefully enjoys that triumph and keeps goading Mary. She keeps really abusing her. In fact, what that whole conversation builds to is two words, actually, and they are the words that do Elizabeth in. It's vil bastarda.
That's the truth.
Because that's the thing, that was her weakest point.
I think it begins with Elizabeth. Where she's coming from is that
The secure conductor is like a good psychologist. They can see immediately what that artist is and what they are responding to. And then they temper it a bit. As the rehearsals go on, there's sort of a little thread that goes on between you and the conductor, and there's a tremendous, it's like a small umbilical cord. And that when he's in the pit and you're up on the stage, it's very obvious when a conductor really respects the artist and is there to not be an accompanist, but be a helper. I can remember doing performances when I first started and I've always done these very mean ladies. I suppose that's the real me. I don't know. They accused me of being that. Where at the end of the performance, my neck and my arm were just so tight from all the tension. So I've learned not to put the tension in the body, you know, rather in the voice. That's why singers are crazy, because any kind of little throat problem, you know, you cannot, for instance, in your work, you can say, oh, I've got a headache and a cold, nobody cares. But I cannot go out on stage and say, gee, folks, I didn't get much sleep last night. They have paid $25 and they really could care less. It's my responsibility to go out there and do the best I can.
Marisa has that kind of strength and energy and edge that's perfect for Elizabeth. In fact, she was a very feminine woman, and Marisa can do both sides very well.
First, I read the text, and in this case, it's marvelous because it's a real character. So you read a lot of books about the person and about the time, and particularly as it regards the characters in a particular opera.
the best part of singing an opera is the rehearsal period as opposed to the performance, usually, because I enjoy the exploration process of learning the character, of finding one's way through that. Also, there's not the added pressure of 3,000 people watching you do it.
And the singing, they belong together. They're not separate. If there's no reason to move unless the music impels you to, or the text really compels you to move. This friction between any two people is when one of the singers is having troubles and they're insecure. But when you have two very secure singers, what you get is a state of excitement that can sometimes bring the audience into a frenzy.
It's unusual to have two sopranos. As a matter of fact, the role that I'm doing can be sung by a mezzo. But my voice is a heavier voice in contrast to Ashley's, so it makes sense. I suppose if you wanted to get down to the bottom line, two sopranos can't be palsy-walsy. But I think there's a matter of respect and appreciation of the other's talent. And you play off that.